Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Also, if you're new to my channel, I strongly advise you to go check out some of my older content. I'm telling you, I got some great stories. I got some fights. I got some hilarious stuff. Man, go check it out. Go to my YouTube playlist. Scroll down and you will see that I have my stories organized into different topics and categories. And I guarantee you'll find something that you like. Now let's hop right up into this video. Now, this video was talking about how I noticed over the course of doing time, the difference in ideology of prison violence, especially prison stabbings when it comes between Mexicans and blacks. And when I'm talking about stabbings, I'm talking about in-house stabbings. So when I say in-house, I'm meaning Mexican on Mexican and black on black. And so for the most part, because doing, the amount of time that I did, I seen several stabbings by each group. And so for the most part, I noticed that the Mexicans had no concerns, and it was almost if they wasn't trying, well, I won't even say it was almost if they were not trying to get away with the stabbing. So I remember one time in particular, I seen a stabbing. I was in Ironwood around 2003 on Sea Yard. I seen two Mexicans hit the track and walk up to this other Mexican and just stab him. Hopped on his helmet though, real tough, stabbing him. They was on him like, boom, ah, ooh, ah. They was on him, you know what I'm saying? And so eventually, a guard or a CO or whoever, somebody happened to notice what was going on. They put the yard down, hit the alarm. But these Mexicans, they continue stabbing this dude. They wasn't giving this dude a break. They was on him. Eventually the guards got there, started spraying the spray, swinging the batons, hitting them, and eventually they got the situation under control. They took the two dudes who was doing the stabbings, of course, to the shoe, to the hole, and they took the other dude, I'm assuming, of course, to get some medical attention. So several people that have asked me in the past, they say, hey, Chill, well, what happens when a person gets caught stabbing somebody in prison? So initially, of course, they're going to take you to the hole. You're going to get a 115, which is a write-up, like a disciplinary action. In a situation like that where they refuse to stop stabbing this dude, and of course the guards and everybody's seen it, they're going to write them up. They are definitely going to be found guilty, and then they're going to be given a SHU term. The SHU is an acronym for segregated housing unit. So they're going to go to the SHU. It could be possibly for 2 years. It could be possibly up to 5 years, maybe even a little longer, just depending on their violence, their history of violence in prison, right? And so let's just say that they're doing 5 years, right? And let's just say they've been given 2 years. So that entire 2 years in the SHU is all dead time. When I first came to prison, some convicts were eligible for good time, day for day good time. So for every day that you done, they would take a day off your sentence. So now I don't know if it's, well, I think later on it went to 80% or 85%, or I don't know what they're doing now, but whatever they're doing now, all that time you're spending in the SHU, that's dead time. So that's just, you won't be able to get any good time during your time in the SHU. And also outside of that, whatever county you are in, let's just say somebody stabbed somebody in Ironwood. Ironwood is in the city of Blythe and the county of Riverside. So not only will you have to deal with whatever consequences that prison is going to give you, you will also get a DA referral. And so what a DA referral is, that the prison that you stab a person in, they will send an incident report of that to the district attorney in that particular city. That district attorney will look over it, and if he feels that your charges are worthy of being filed criminal, he will file criminal charges on you. Now, outside of whatever you're dealing with the institution, you will also have charges filed on you in that county, in the county of Riverside. And so now you will be transported back and forth going to court just as if you had stabbed someone on the street. So eventually, your situation will, of course, be heard by a judge. And if you're found guilty, you're going to be given some more time. Most likely, it's going to run consecutive to the time that you're already doing. And in some cases, you can receive a life sentence, just depending on your, once again, your criminal past, right? And so, in my humble opinion, anytime a person can avoid all that, he should avoid all that, right? Now, I know for those who pay attention to a lot of these, California, especially prison channels, so on and so forth, you will hear often that different organizations sometimes mandate the carrying of weapons by those who affiliate or choose to run with that particular organization, right? And while that may be true, one thing I can tell you for sure is just because a person has a weapon does not necessarily mean he's going to use the weapon. It is very, like I say, it's very different. It's very scary when riots jump off. It's very scary. It's very, it takes a certain type of individual to go outside to the yard and stab somebody, right? Because it's a lot of different variables going on. That person that you stab may have a knife. The guards may see you stabbing a person and shooting them. Of course, in the event you are going home, now you're worried about getting caught and so on and so forth. And one thing I never did also understand is, like I said, it takes a certain type of individual to do that. So why at least not give yourself a chance to try to get away with it? Like I said, I've seen several stabbings, Mexican stabbing other Mexicans, and the Mexican that was doing the stabbing did not even try to get away with it. And then once again, me knowing that it takes a certain type of individual to do that. If an individual was a part of my collective that had no problem with going out there, putting in work with that thing, I definitely would try to encourage this dude, man, to get away, to keep him around, because you want those type of individuals around you, right? Like I said, just because a person has a knife does not mean he's going to go out there and get cracking with it wholeheartedly. Some people are going to participate just enough so they won't get called out. Some people are not going to participate at all. And so I would say like maybe 98, 99% of the time I seen somebody black stab somebody black, they definitely always tried to get away with it. Because here's how I looked at it, right? My ideology on that was, and I'll use myself as an example. I told you guys a story about when I stabbed somebody. I was on a 2-yard actually, and the name of that story is Chill versus Goliath, part 1 and part 2. If you haven't seen that, go check that out, right? But I had to stab a dude, man, in around 2000, I believe it was 5, somewhere around there, maybe 2006. But anyway, at that point in time, I already had life. The board was not letting people go home. You know what I'm saying? This dude done something that I was not willing to forgive, and I was gonna stab this dude, even though I had life. And the board wasn't letting any lifers go at that point, hadn't been letting lifers go for the past 20, 30 years. I still, my mindset was, okay, I got life, so I'm supposed to just go out here and go all out to the point I don't care if I get caught, because also I know that if I get caught, I'm gonna have to go do a considerable amount of time in the SHU. I'm looking at things like I have already highly inconvenienced myself by doing something and being caught and given a life sentence. Being in prison is an extreme inconvenience, right? A lot of people try to act like going to prison is a badge of honor. It's still a huge inconvenience, because it's a lot of limitations on your life, And so when you go to the SHU, which is an acronym for segregated housing unit, there are even more limitations placed on an already limited life. So why would I try to subject myself to that if it was not necessary, And so after I handled my business on old boy, I ran through a couple of day rooms, ran upstairs, and flushed the knife. Now, of course, of course, my name was mentioned. I was handcuffed and said that it was assumed that I was the person who allegedly stabbed this dude, but I at least tried to give myself a chance to get away with it. And eventually I was found not guilty of that particular stabbing. I always thought that the guard had seen everything and wrote the 115 up in a way that was favorable to me. And it turns out that's exactly what he did. I talked to a brother maybe about a year ago who was there when his stabbing happened, and he said the guard said some things to him that let him know that he did not like the dude that I stabbed, and so he wrote things up in a way that would give me a good chance to beat it. I'll probably give you guys a story on that, right? But anyway, like I said, why would a person not at least try to get away with it? I've seen dudes get caught up in situations in prison where they have had more charges filed on them. I've seen a dude get a life sentence for trying to smuggle some weed back to prison from the visiting room. So like I said, why at least not try to give yourself a chance to get away with it? And I guess it just comes down to it's a difference in ideologies, right? I've had several people say to me over the course of doing time, hey, damn, Chill, man, you got life, man. If I had life, man, I'd do this or I'd do that. If a CO talked to me crazy, I wouldn't care, man. I'd do this, I'd do that. And for the most part, I just felt that 90% of those dudes, or probably even higher, 98% of those dudes were just talking, Just because a person has a life sentence and just because the board at that time was not paroling anybody with a life sentence, it did not mean a person who had a life sentence did not have desires about being paroled, So, like I say, I think that was just a lot of talk. I have seen dudes come in with a life sentence and they feel it's over. And so they have no qualms about doing whatever, getting in trouble. They have no qualms about getting in trouble or stabbing this person or doing that, because in their mind, they have psychologically gave up on ever seeing the streets again. So unfortunately, when the board got revamped around 2007, 2008, whenever it was, you had some laws passed that gave people who came to prison under the age of 25 and got sentenced to a life sentence. These laws would change in these dudes' favor to help them possibly get out due to the brain not being fully developed, fully matured in certain areas. These dudes who just ran around running amok in prison, not giving themselves a chance, had shot themselves in the foot, right? And so that's the sad thing about that now, And so I say all that to say that to me, it would always make sense to try to get away with whatever negative thing that I was doing in prison. I stabbed a couple of people in prison, and each time I would try to get away with it. Now I could understand under certain instances, right? If a person done something to another person, and another person felt that whatever the transgression was so egregious that he did not care about getting caught, that his anger basically just overtook him, and he wanted to put a cold demonstration down on this dude for everybody to see, so that whatever he did would not be tried or attempted again upon him. Sometimes I can understand that, right? But like I said, my mindset, especially when I was in prison and being a person who was deeply involved in the criminal nature, my mind is to always try to get away. And like I said, I've seen several instances where Mexicans stabbed other Mexicans and they did not try to get away. And like I say, I just didn't understand that. But once again, I guess that's the difference in the ideologies. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that today. Somebody a couple of days ago had asked me some questions, and it sparked this video that I'm doing here today. So you already know what it is, man. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.